In this video, I'm going to show you a time-lapse of my illustration coming together. It will also include a few screen recordings so you can see what I'm doing. The first step is coming up with an idea. I imagine a cat making biscuits, except the dough is a strange little blob with eyes. I add little stars and a moon to my drawing to give it a magic vibe. After the sketch is finished, I make a new layer for the clean line art. Once the line art is complete, it's time to create a flat block of color for all the different parts of the design, such as the rolling pin, the cat's body, and the bag of flour. Keeping all of this isolated to its own layer will make things easier later. After I have all the flats done, it's time to pick a color scheme. Lately, I've been using an app for iOS called Colorific. This app is very useful for making color palettes. You can even export the results to Procreate. After I've made a color palette, I set the different color blocks to alpha lock and experiment with a color scheme. I use my line art brush to create shadows. This illustration is in a clean cartoon style, so I keep things simple. To find a good shadow color, I'll usually select my base color, then shift the hue slightly towards the cooler colors. Next, I put the saturation up a little and bring the brightness down a little. Sometimes I'll shift my shadows towards the warmer colors instead, but whichever I pick, I keep it consistent throughout the rest of the illustration. I set the shadow layers to multiply and bring down the opacity to tone it down a little. Around this point in my process, I usually decide if I want to keep things simple or if I want to experiment and render things out more. I decide to play around a little and use a soft brush to add some shadows and gradients. Next, I need some highlights. I set the layer mode to add and make it a clipping mask over the base layer. I recolor the line art by setting it to alpha lock and filling it with the purple color. I decide that I don't like how the shadows came out, so I choose to go back to a simple illustration. Luckily, I kept all of this rendering on its own layer, so it's very easy for me to just turn it off or delete the layers. So here's how the final artwork turned out. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. I also have art prints and more at cellsdividing.com. Thanks for watching.